motu yongera okulunga otadde olunyafa ku mutima nze ngonze yongera okumala obulungi bwokireko ŋŋaali nyonyi muzinga kusinza ki gano malojjolojjo kusangiriza nnyo mu masaŋŋanzira nga weesesa ebinyuma ne mu lwegoma mukwano okwetaaga amagirawo otambula ebinyuma onyumya ebisesa otunula ebinyuma kakunyumirwa lubeerera mukwano otambula ebinyuma onyumya ebisesa walayi otunula ebinyuma kakunyumirwa lubeerera nze baby oh hey baby ombibiza ebinyuma nempampaga maz'omusaayi ne zigejja gyensiba sikyagendayo nkugumiikira mu masaŋŋanzira mukoddome musonge kusekkoko ne sseggwanga wangudde neetaaga kawala kagezi nga ggwe binyuma nkusangiriza nnyo mu masaŋŋanzira nga weesesa ebinyuma ne mu lwegoma mukwano kwetaaga mbagirawo otambula ebinyuma onyumya ebisesa otunula ebinyuma kankunyumirwa lubeerera sikulimba otambula ebinyuma onyumya ebisesa walayi otunula ebinyuma kankunyumirwa lubeerera bebe pepepe
I'll try this. Say baby. I love that. All right, okay.
What you can say is, oh,
no, please stop that. Okay, please stop that. All right, okay. So, it's a Friday, and so now you know. Just in case you've not woken up to that fact, it is a Friday. And right here on Morning at 10 TV, we ensure that you get that down in your bloodstream. The weekend is here. That person who just performed right now is the almighty Kenneth Mugabe, an artist right here in the country. Thank you so much for making time.
Well, I tried to. Sorry, I'm late.
No, you're fine. You're okay. And also next to him, I do have a Richard Tuwanje.
Yes.
You know him. A common face on our screen. Yeah, well, all right. And just in case you don't know who this guy is yet, I don't know where in this country you live, but just in case you don't know who it is, how about you take a look at this?
What? Oh my God.
Where is the waiter?
I am here, but let me first attend to him. He came first.
Drink something like anyway. How are you?
I'm not complaining.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm fine.
Yeah.
Hey. Katubwe. So you Katubwe Ranchio or Junior? Come and work on me. Don't be stupid. You can work on two. We are just two. You cannot chewing the gum and walk. Eh?
Please, sir, let me first attend to him.
You have served him, and I am not served. I have been here for the last. How can I spend here 1 whole minute, and I am not served? Eh?
Sorry, sir.
Does this job do anything in your life? Do you treasure this job? Yeah? You use your head. Yeah? So, do you have milk? Yeah? Stop focusing. You're focusing on that guy. You have already sorted him. Yeah? Yes. Bring Mwala. Boss. Do not interfere with my order. Eh? Don't interfere with my order.
But I came here first.
Eh?
Then I show Kujawa.
Does it matter?
Yeah. It matters. First come, first serve. So you know. Amajaba abantu balaba.
Iwe hapo so in the restaurant
What's my bill?
40,000.
40. Kati omutwalo gugu.
Oh, thank you.
Keep change, okay?
Thank you.
Omanyi, nagamba first time, first okola analysis, analyze, otegeero kya, 10,000 is for you.
Oh, thank you.
Kakati nfuneyo kagundi akalala. A drink, get me another drink.
Don't be stupid. Come on, give me my order.
Genda.
How much is milk? You wait. How
Nganye. Oyo go fuck agenda kuwachi. I've been seeing that man since about 2001. What's that?
Wow, that's Richard for you right there. Hey, I have two very talented men in studios this morning. And so we want to get into the art space. That's the conversation that we'll be having this morning. Just in case you're a young person who is very talented, but maybe your parents have discouraged you, telling you that, you know what, that sector has no money, my child. But the sector is actually changing, and so that's where they're here. That's why they're here this morning, to help us understand how can you go about this journey and make sure that that talent actually puts food on your table. Thank you so much, gents, for coming in studios this morning.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So I think I'll start with Kenneth. Kenneth, you've been in the game from pretty much 2011. So if we do our math right, this is your 8th year. And you started it out on a very, critical note, saying that I won't take this for granted and just rely on my talent.
Yeah.
You took it further and went to school.
Yes,
Tell us more. Yes, tell us more about that.
Well, initially I wanted to do community psychology. Why? Because my father was in police, and I wanted to a little bit, find my ways around, not in police, but around police.
Yes.
So when I went there, they had thrown some notes showing that performing arts and film is accepting students who don't have a background of music. I was like, you know what, I'm going to take this one. I didn't know anything about music except open my mouth and shout. So I decided to take it, and I made community psychology my second choice, just in case I didn't get music. And voila, I got music. I was like, okay, now let journey begin. So it started from there.
But many people would say that, most of the times when you interview artists, especially musicians, they say that I started singing when I was 2, I started singing when I was 3, and they never went to school for it. Yeah. So I'm sure you realized that you had a talent at a very young age. So why was it critical? I'm sure after you enrolled into music school, you thought, okay, wait a minute, I need to make this as serious as possible. What was it for you?
Well, for starters, I had to first, wrestle with my mzee. I was like,
I know.
I was like, man, and I'm like, but my mother used to sing. She studied music, my mother. She used to sing, she used to sing in church, she used to write songs for church, she used to act in church. So this talent, I basically inherited it from my mother. So going to school, my mzee was like, this is it, this is the life. But I thank him, well, may his rest in peace. I thank him because he let me, he actually paid the tuition.
Wow.
Until 3rd year, I was like, you know what, Mzee, what I'm getting here is not what I actually want. Because back in the day, in my year, yet they were not let me say, course units that could favor me, help me in our daily life as a musician. Because what you study there is not actually what you apply here. Now here you have to study again Okay. So the thing is, in the beginning, it was a tough choice, I would say. Yes, because I had, pulling this in, and you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to be in office.
Right.
Your father is like this. Now you have to be like this. You have to be greater than your father. Man, it is. Let me call it. It's not stress if you know where you're going. It is stress if you don't know what you're doing.
If you don't know what you're doing.
Yes.
And it will be harder for you to fight
Yes.
the stereotypes around music.
Yes.
All right. Richard.
Yes.
You've been, I think you're going to grow old in the space of comedy. It's been 16 years and counting.
Yeah.
At what point did you say that white collar jobs, you're not my thing. Comedy is my thing. At what point, what was that, I think a breaking point for you, you knowing that these are the things that are not working for me. Comedy is my thing and I will make it work.
Well, I can't say I clearly set out to become a comedian. What I knew for sure was I was an actor. Made to be, you feel it. I mean, the quickest ways to know who you are is when you're a child is you hear from your parents or the people you grow up, your family basically. So, and also in primary school. So I figured I was.
The stage was yours.
On the stage. I wanted to be a performing artist in every sense of the word. So I went to the School of Performing Arts in Makerere. Along the way, it was maybe. I can't rule out fate and the fact that maybe I was intended, for this destiny. Along the way, it's a long story, but I want to just cut it short. When we were doing what we were doing, Philip Wiswater started, a weekly comedy show. And he picked the guys at the School of Performing Arts, the ones that he felt this guy would add value.
Yeah.
So is she and him and he. So it was a small group. And it started like that.
You also went to school for this, the School of Performing Arts.
Yeah.
Were your parents also?
Were
your parents also as hesitant as his parents were?
Yeah, I think every parent. I think 99.99% of Ugandan parents of my generation, they found it hard, to let their son go in there 100%. So I later grew to understand their position because they came from a totally different condition.
Right.
They were conditioned to think that a good job is when you have an office, suit up, 8 to 5,
So how did you end up in, school, pretty much, if they were totally against it? So how did you manage to woo them?
Actually, I made a decision. Yeah.
Like Mama.
The story, I don't know who set this up. I don't know who tried it. Yeah. But it's almost the same story.
Yeah.
In my N6, when we were doing our, the job forms.
Yes.
Yeah? Usually you have 4 options. Yeah. So I only put 2. And that was a big case in the school. The careers teacher called my parent. They called the parent to the school. I had put industrial fine art and a bachelor's in drama. And they're like, you have to do 2. I told them, you know what, if I can't do this, I'll definitely get this. If I can't do both, I'll definitely find a way on stage, because already I was a performer in high school. We were running things, so I wanted to go to the big stage, but I didn't know how. Well, but when you meet people like-minded, like-minded, they have the same passion about the same things you have passion for. We found ourselves doing things.
Right.
Yeah.
And did your parents pay for your fee?
My dad actually wanted me to do industrial fine art. He really thought I was going to be one of the best artists in Uganda. And now I am. Performing artist.
So he paid for your tuition?
No, he did. But hesitantly. I had to do a lot of convincing.
Okay, all right. Okay, before we get to now making sure that people get to understand how to commercialize their talent, Kenneth.
Yes.
The public wants you to perform again. So serenade them this morning. Take the stage.
Well, this song is for you.
Okay.
For you.
All right.
So
And I'll extend that to our viewers as well.
Well,
all imagine I'm not here.
Richard will translate. nsikirizibwa okusemberera nzikiriza nkusemberere nsikirizibwa okutunuulira oli kifaananyi kiba kyannasiiga katonda yawunda gwe neyeewuunya ansikirizibwa okukwatako mukwano anedda tonfuna bubi nze munno nkwegomba nkulabamu abalongo abalina amaaso ngagago nkwegomba bakuntondera nze bakuntondera zakusanira nkwegomba nsikirizibwa okusemberera buli wobeera obukuumi bwempulira nze nsikirizibwa okutunuulira omwana gwe bw'oyogera zaabu yafuluma buli buziga mirembe gye mpulira nnyumirwa nnyo ng'ompulirizaako yongera onsesenze nonyumirwa ogulina otitya okumya omuliro nsikirizibwa n'okuba maamagama tebyokola nkwegomba bakutundira ze bakutundira zokusanira nkwegomba mukwano nze nkwegomba bakuntondera mwana gwenze ebyaddala zakusanira mwana gwenze nkwegomba walai nkwegomba.
In one sentence, he says, you are his dream girl. The girl of his dreams.
Oh my goodness, that was amazing. Like, what?
Yeah.
Okay, rate him.
Did you get the good feedback?
Over 10.
Yeah, over?
Rate him. Over 10.
On a scale of 0 to 10?
Yes.
20.
Indeed.
This guy is 20.
Indeed.
And now he's doing this magic with just the guitar. So if he had the full band, you'd be surprised.
Wow.
We were there when he was launching his album last weekend. Yeah.
Oh, congratulations for that.
Yes.
Thank you for the dedication. Oh, but unfortunately, I might be a dream girl, but couldn't.
Not all dreams come true.
Yeah, it won't come true. But it's amazing that you know the characteristics that you want in a woman. All right? Because I'm taken. Hey, but that's a story for another day. Now, Kenneth.
Yes.
I mean, you are super talented. This is not auto-tune at all. By the way, guys, it's zero auto-tune. This is you singing from your heart of hearts.
Yes.
You've been in the game, went to school. You released your album just the other day,
well,
but we want
my
to
second album.
Second album.
Yeah.
We want to demystify that fact that parents in our age didn't believe that art can actually pay. So how has it been for you? You realized that you have a talent. You went to school for it, but you said yourself that once you hit the ground, the world, it's a totally different ballgame. So let's talk about marrying the two, talent and you starting to earn from it. How was it for you?
Well, I'm not rich yet, but I'm rich in.
Yeah.
Yes, you are.
You have your gold mine.
Yeah, I have my gold mine. I'm still excavating it. But it's about thinking. It's about the mentality. It's about what you want to put in the industry. Me, I entered the music industry as a person who wants to add something to it. Because taking away, maybe I can take out the money and still put something. But I wanted to add something. Yes, I need money to actually accomplish this. But you see, someone told me that if you do something you can pay for, then you're not actually leading in that area of gifting. Well, my point is our ideas we come up with, they're totally big that we can't pay for them. Recently I finished an album. I couldn't pay for it, but end of the day it was done.
Right.
I did an album release. End of the day, in the beginning I couldn't pay for it. End of the day it was done. You get?
Right.
So it's about what you want and how and basically the solutions you want to put in place to certain problems in society.
Right.
Because we artists, we are more of a observe, go and tell the people, but in a way that they can laugh at, in a way they can feel, in a way they can. End of the day, they bring you the money.
Right.
Yes.
So linking purpose to your talent,
yes,
and the money will follow.
Yes.
16 years in the game.
Yeah.
I think your stories have been similar. Went to school, amazed, your parents
he
thinking.
actually gave me his stage.
He did.
Yeah.
Blood bros, in the
That's why I was asking you. I don't know who
industry.
set this guest list up.
That's
Because when he
amazing.
started, he was just from the School of Performing Arts, and we have that platform every Thursday.
Yeah.
So we made a choice as Fan Factory to share the platform with other forms of art.
Right.
Because we struggled. When we guys started, it was much worse than theirs.
Tell us more about that.
I mean, we had a year or two of getting paid in kind. Food and a drink.
Wow.
Yeah, but let me tell you, when some people hear that, or my peers, then they're like, "Oh, Richard, man, I think they did tell me, but they thought I was stupid." Yeah, because I also at some point felt stupid because we were doing something and we were not earning. But you see, at that when it is your passion, when it flows from your spirit. Getting a way to commercialize it becomes now easier, because if you're doing something that you're passionate about, you just have to professionalize it.
Right.
Yeah, get the right team together, make sure the product
It's good.
is good. Get the audience to always have confidence in what you're going to deliver. Yeah, and the crowd will grow, because I saw it.
Right.
We started with 5 people. Yeah, a doctor, his wife, their 2 kids, and their driver. The audience grew. We grew too big for the space, and we moved to the National Theatre. The rest was history.
You've mentioned something quite critical, that you have to polish your product. Make sure it's impeccable.
Yeah, and we have a syndrome. Ugandan artists have a syndrome. We have the "I can do it like him" syndrome. Yeah, I want to do it like him syndrome. Now in Uganda, I'm talking all arts, yeah, all sub sectors of the arts.
Right.
Especially now, let's say music. In Uganda, it's a weird market. It's a weird arts market, because not the most talented ones make the most money. And the guys who have the maybe hit songs and all that, yeah, are the guys who know how to do the street business, the go behind the curtains thing, yeah. Now the Kenneth Mugabes of this world, who sing the songs that stay, the guys who put a lot of work in their comedy, they are satisfied maybe with just performing on that stage. So in Uganda, there's because not all talented ones are having professional teams working on them. Yeah, some very talented people might not make as much money as their talent would rake in, because we don't.
Right. So there's one thing, you have to make sure your product is perfect. But that's not enough to make it in the business. So you said that one thing is key, professionalizing it, and that means putting a team in place. What does it entail to put a team in place, especially now that you're a startup, Kenneth?
Well, to put a team in place, it's hard. It is quite hard, but not hard, surprisingly.
Okay.
You see, when you're moving, you're like a magnet, because a magnet attracts people to come on board. The magnet doesn't go looking. It just attracts. You just put a magnet and things just come close. So me, in the beginning, I just went where I needed to be nurtured from. And then from there, I looked for a manager. But as I was looking for a manager, I didn't know that a friend of mine who I've seen for quite some time, for like over 6 or 7, could do actually that job. I didn't know.
So what do you look for in a manager?
Well, dedication.
Okay.
He has to be a fan. He has to love my music. If you don't love my music, I can't work with you. Yes.
Yeah.
So number one is dedication.
Dedication is very key, because when you get a dedicated one, if he fails, he will strive to make sure it works. But also, most importantly, because we don't have schools here that teach how to be a talent manager. So we have a lot of self-taught people all over, across the board in the arts, producers, but they're self-taught, but they're good at the game. So but we are living in a time when people can inform themselves. You can teach yourself online. All the information is there. So there are guys who have equipped themselves with enough skill to manage the talent, though they are very few.
Right. So get that manager who will go to any heights to make sure that you succeed, and is very passionate about your craft and your product. Okay. The other thing where many people are actually duped, especially the startups, is, like you said, once you are in the limelight, you become like a magnet. So people want to approach you a lot. So how do you go about, filtering them out, and also how do you go about articulating your value well enough, such that when you know that this project X, this is what I'll stand to earn, this is what will go to my manager, as we wrap this up? Kenneth?
Well, managers are supposed to take 10% of whatever you make.
Okay.
You get 10%, depending on the job. But in the beginning, since you're not making much, on my side, I'm like, you know what? Let us split this. You have responsibilities, I have responsibilities. Let us, get the next one. But if we have a big check, I'm like, you know what? 10%, this is mine. Now, the rest, business, let's put it back. Yes. So, getting the right team. How do I get the right team? How do I sieve out those? In the beginning, you don't even know. Even Jesus didn't know.
Yes.
But by the time he knew, he was like, but that guy.
Yeah.
So they're always there. But you just have to see who actually put themselves there for you.
Okay.
Put themselves on the line.
All right.
For you.
Richard. So he said 10%, 90%, 10-90. What other things should an artist or someone who is in the arts get to understand, especially when it comes to business? And now that we know the relationship between the manager and the artist, tell us more about the relationship between a promoter or the client and you as the artist. How do you get to articulate your value?
First, I want to talk a bit about how an artist can make sure they get the best out of what they have, before they even put a team together. I think it's a business, like you said. We are talking about now the biz, of show. So the showbiz now. If you know it's a business, you must cut out your niche. You must know what uniqueness you have as a talent. Then you figure out which segment of the arts audience would come to you and satisfy those ones. Then those will be yours. Then you will not suffer with the competition. You'll have your niche cut out. Now, for example, I have a one-man show next Friday. I have a clear idea which kind of audience is going to come to watch my show. Manager, promoter, and all that. We are living in a very unique market of the arts here in Uganda. People get fleeced by promoters, others by their own managers. So you can't run away from this. Every talent must educate themselves. They must make sure they know everything they must know, because this market is growing very fast. The audience is moving faster than the artists.
Right. So should a promoter pay me before I get on stage or after? Or a percentage before and after?
I think a percentage, or depending on your legal advisors and your clearly stipulated terms of payment, as long as everything is contractual.
Contractual. All right, thank you so much. I'm sure them that wanted to get this information now have it. They're all enlightened, because I think that's where the rubber meets the road, where many are actually duped. So now you know. Contracts, you need to have your paperwork right, you need to get to understand, educate yourself, very key. So you guys have, events coming up. Kenneth,
Well,
take this one.
Me, I have an album. I'm actually moving with them with my bag.
Okay, at how much?
30,000.
Okay.
Yes.
Where else can people get this?
They can just come to my inbox. Right now they are National Theatre, but they can come to my inbox. Facebook Kenneth Mugabe, Instagram Kenneth_Mugabe, Twitter @Kenneth Mugabe, everywhere mobile money Kenneth Mugabe. So
okay, mobile money Kenneth Mugabe.
Everywhere.
All right. Are you in the e-platforms, iTunes,
Yes, it's already there. Tidal, Apple Music. The album is already there.
Oh, congratulations for that, Richard.
These things make musicians sound so sophisticated. Tunes, yeah. For me, I'm on stage live.
Spotify.
Yeah. Me, I'm there.
Yeah.
You can find me there. If I'm not there, you can't find me anywhere. So it's happening on Friday. It's my first stand-up comedy special.
One-man show.
Yeah, one-man show.
Where is this?
It's at the National Theatre.
All right.
The best theatre.
From what time to what time?
Central Africa. So it's the show will start at exactly 8, but entertainment will start at 7:30. I hit the stage at 8.
At 8.
Yes.
Any entrance fee?
Yeah.
How much?
It's almost free. It's 50K.
Almost free.
Yes.
Where do people get the tickets?
At the National Theatre. Tickets are there at the National Theatre, but I must warn people, our National Theatre only seats 400 people.
Oh, so fast come faster.
Yeah, and I have a clear idea. I have more than 600 people who want to watch this show.
All right.
But I only can put it at the National Theatre.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys, for coming on board. I think we'll have you back again, especially after that amazing, now that you're selling your albums, we'll come to look at that. How many of you been able to sell? What are the structures have you put in place to ensure that you're profitable? And also for you, maybe to just do a post-promoter.
Can you allow me to buy his CD on air?
Yes, please.
30K.
This is what we call supporting each other.
Yes. It is original. Not the one that was printed I need my 20K.
No, it's okay. You'll get the album afterwards.
Yes. Yes. I need my 20K balance. Yeah. I must also tell you that this is just for sure.
Just for sure. So you have to refund. Honestly, thank you so much for coming in studios, Kenneth. You're welcome, Kenneth Mugabe, and also Richard Tuwanje for coming in studios. Now you know you can actually make money out of your talent. So just make sure that you put the right team in place. Make sure your product is at 100%, and you'll get it right. All right. So that's it for our Take Note segment. Thanks to this gentleman who made time. But at this point in time, how about we get into traffic updates? Stephen Bida is on standby.
Mala, I believe you've enjoyed the company of those two guys, and I'm personally looking forward for Twanje's show. I'll definitely be there. But here, I'm coming to you live from Banda, and in front of me is Banda, and behind is the rest of Chambogo as you drive along this Ginger Road. And as you can see here, there is at least you should say, compared to what usually happens around this place. For now, a few minutes to 9 a.m. It's now almost 13 minutes to